Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all good? I hope so. Y'all listen. I think Lewis then wrote a check that his ain't gonna be able to cash. And Freddie, you should have went with what you felt in your heart and in your gut. Cause baby, you just messed it up for yourself. So Lewis and Monica were watching a movie, but Lewis kept falling asleep. So Monica told him that he should go on to bed. Lewis knew he couldn't hang any longer, and he was like, "You sure?" But before Monica could answer, her phone started ringing. Who is calling me this late? She looked at the caller ID, but she didn't recognize the number. But when she answered it, it was Nate, and he was talking fast. Monica, I know that Lewis is probably with you, so just act like you're talking to Tabitha. Tabitha, what's up, girl? Nate told Monica that he needed to talk to her. He told her to tell Lewis that Tabitha's car broke down. She's getting it towed, and she needs you to pick her up. Monica was so nervous she couldn't speak. Then Nate told her if she didn't do it, he was just going to come to her house and say what he had to say. Monica agreed and then asked, where did the car break down? And Nate told her to meet him at the park over on Clark Street. All while Monica was talking, she would glance over nervously at Lewis. Once she got the meetup spot, she hung up and Lewis asked her who was on the phone. Oh, that was Tabitha. Tabitha? I thought you didn't recognize the number. She was calling from a payphone. Her car broke down and she needed me to pick up. Oh, okay. Well, I'll go with you. No, Layla is still here, remember? And it makes no sense to wake her up. Lewis wasn't sure if Monica was telling the truth, but he said, okay, and then Monica left. She arrived at the park about 15 minutes later, but she didn't see Nate. She called him and said that she wasn't getting out of the car until she saw him. Nate was over by the swing, so he waved her over. So instead of Nate getting into the reason why he called her out there, which were to show her the pictures that Lewis sent him, he started reminiscing about the times that they used to come to that park and talk about the family they would have. You remember this, Monica? How we used to talk about the family we could have? I mean, if we would have started a family right when we got married, like you promised. Listen, Nate, I don't know why you called me out here, but I'm not here for that. I know. I apologize. I didn't come out here for that either. I need you to know that I want you back, Monica. Oh, so Lewis was right. Nate, did you forget that I'm engaged? Nate laughed and asked Monica if she was in love with Lewis, and she told him that was none of his business. So Nate walked up on her and asked her again if she was in love with Lewis, but Monica just stared at him. I see. Well, do you still have feelings for me? Not the kind that'll make me want to be back with you. Not with all the you did to me. But you know why I did that, right? Yeah, because you're a selfish bastard. No, because I wanted children and you stole that from me. Well, if you see me being unable to have kids as stealing from you, then it is what it is. And since nothing has changed, why would you want me back? But something has changed, Monica. Me. I've changed. And if you would just give me a chance, you'll see that. Nate, I can't do that. I am engaged. Yeah, Lewis. But what does he add to your life, Monica? What does he bring that you don't already have? Can you even grow with him? Nate, I really don't have to answer any of those questions, but I will say that he's a good man and he entrusted me with his beautiful daughter. Okay, now I get it. It's really the daughter. Since you can't have children, you have a deep love for this child. So it's not really him that you love. So Nate stepped closer to her. They were almost nose to nose. And as he was approaching, Monica said, I do love him. Not the way you loved me. We were together 4 years. We got married because we loved each other. Not because you were frustrated and I was needy. Your marriage will be based on a last resort, Monica, a rebound. Ours was based on love. If you loved me, why did you? And before she could finish, Nate slipped his hand behind her neck and pulled her in for a kiss. For a minute, he felt no resistance. Her lips parted, their tongues touched, and then she pulled away and slapped the shit out of Nate. He stumbled back and apologized for what he just did. Monica, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I just got caught up in the moment. Monica was near tears and she asked Nate, why did he do that? She told him that she never wanted to see him again, and then she stormed off to her car. Monica made it back home. Louis and Layla were asleep. She put on her nightgown and got into bed with her back to Louis. The image of Nate kissing her flashed through her mind like 1,000 times. Then she jumped when she felt Louis touch her and nuzzle up behind her, but she inched away from him a little bit. You okay? Yeah, just tired, that's all. How's Tabitha? Huh? Tabitha? Her car stopped and you went to pick her up? Oh, she's fine. She should be able to pick it up in the morning. Oh, okay, well, that's good. Nate made it home, took a shower, and just laid in bed. Daphne called, and they were able to finish their fun time on the phone. And it was so good that Daphne was ready to fly back home. I was thinking, maybe next weekend I could fly back. It'll cost an arm and a leg, but it would be worth it. No, I might have to head to the West Coast for this buyout thing next weekend, and I would hate for you to come all this way only for us to miss each other. You don't miss me? Yes, I miss you, Daphne, more than you know. I'm ready to have these escapades on the phone to happen in real life, because this has me ready for round 2. But listen, baby, these 2 weeks, they gonna pass by before we know it. Daphne was a little disappointed, but she said, you know what? You're right, but let me go get cleaned up before this meeting starts. Love you, sweetie. Love you too. Nate went to the bathroom to clean himself up. He realized he had this big old smile on his face. He loved hearing from Daphne, and those phone calls were everything. But the whole time he was pleasing himself, he wasn't thinking about Daphne. He was thinking about Monica. So Monica was telling Tabitha what happened between her and Nate. Monica said that she couldn't stand him. First, he disrespects my relationship by calling me that time of night, tells me that he doesn't care about my engagement to Louis, and then he kisses me? Well, did you like it? Like what, Tabitha? The kiss. I won't even dignify that with an answer. Well, what's the big deal? Y'all kissed all the time when you were married. Could you be pissed because you are now questioning yourself about Louis since Nate is trying to stake his claim? Girl, F Nate's claim. He has no claim. But what if he's really trying to get you back? I mean, y'all had a great marriage before the baby situation. All of that is over now. You don't think you all could recapture what you had? What the hell is wrong with you and Nate? What do y'all not get about me being in a relationship with Louis? I'm going to marry Louis. Fine, girl. But hey, do you think Louis suspected anything last night? I don't think so. What you think? Well, he called, just like you said he would. I'm just glad you gave me a heads up. How did he respond when you got back home? He was asleep. He woke up to ask me if you were okay. I told him yeah, and that was it. Good. Then you have nothing to worry about. Well, the next morning, when Louis got to work, he decided to check and see if Monica was telling the truth about that phone call. He felt a little suspicious about it last night, but he just wanted to make sure that he wasn't crazy. Freddie was on the call while Louis was on the computer, and he was looking at the screen trying to figure out, what is this man doing? He hung up the phone and said, I know you're not paying bills, so what you doing? And by that time, a call history list appeared. Man, tell me you're not checking Monica's phone records. She said she went to get Tabitha. Why won't you just believe her? Because I know it ain't true. I could tell by how she kept looking over at me when she was on the phone. I ain't crazy. I ain't saying you crazy. Just trust her. I bet she was being straight up with you. Louis looked back at Freddie and said, well, I guess you'll lose that bet. You see that call that came in at 9:56 p.m.? That was Nate. And you see, she called him back 20 minutes later. I told you, Freddie, she was cheating on me. Man, that lady is not cheating on you. She was only gone an hour, Louis. How much could she have possibly done in an hour? Well, you said it only take you 5 minutes. So what's your point? Listen, this ain't about me anyway, but my point is, just because she met up with him doesn't mean she's cheating. She probably didn't even know that man was going to call her. And she probably didn't tell you because of how you're acting right now. She could have been going out there to tell dude to F off. And if that's what it was, she could have told me, Freddie. And I told him if he kept trying to pursue her, I was going to be on his east. And I see that he wants to push my hand. I can't let this slide. I got to do something. Lewis, let this mess go. You're probably making a bigger deal out of it than it is. Lewis got in Freddie's face and asked him who was the most important person in the world to him. And Freddie said, you know that's my mom's. Well, after my daughter, Monica is. And just like you do anything for your mama, I'll do anything for them. I bet you're looking for the fool who jumped your mama the other day. Because you ain't going to let it slide. You ain't going to let it just go away like that, right? You're going to try to find them. And you're going to try to teach them a lesson, right? Freddie looked away and said, yeah, I probably will. I told Nate to expect consequences. And since he didn't listen, I'm going to have to teach him a lesson. And I'm going to need your help. I'm going to give him what they gave me in that alley that night. Lewis, man, I don't think you need to do all that. Just give the man another warning. Man, a warning. I already did that. So now it's time to deliver on that warning. All right. But what about Monica? I don't even feel like looking at her right now. Not after finding out that she lied. I'm just going to stay away from her until we handle this business. After work, Freddie went to have a conversation with Kia's father. He just couldn't get over how the man felt about him, and he didn't like that he was taking his feelings out on Kia and threatening to stop paying her tuition if she didn't stop seeing Freddie. Freddie even went to Target and purchased him some black slacks, a white shirt, a blue tie, and some shoes just to impress the man. To him, he needed to make that impression. He wanted that man to see him differently. So Freddie had been calling Kia's father for the past 2 days, but he was unable to reach him. So he decided to just go down to the office. Mr. Ford, Dr. James will see you now. Freddie walked down to the office, took a deep breath. Then he knocked on the door. Come in. Dr. James was standing behind his desk. He looked Freddie up and down and told him to have a seat. I have 5 minutes for you. Next time, you'll call and make an appointment. I tried, but I couldn't. What do you want? You can't stop paying kids' tuition. As long as she's seeing you, I can do whatever I want. You will really stop her from getting her education because of me? But we're a couple and she's having my baby. Yes, I will stop her education. And no, she hasn't given birth yet. That last statement stuck out to Freddie because he could tell that Dr. James was still betting on Kia getting rid of the baby. And Freddie had to keep his composure. Mr. James, I love Kia. It's Dr. James. And if you haven't realized it yet, I don't care how you feel about my daughter. Freddie told Dr. James that he is doing right by Kia. He said that he's working every day, taking classes with plans on opening up his own real estate company. Freddie said that he was going to be a success and make Kia proud of him. He just didn't know why he wouldn't give him a chance because he hadn't done anything. Dr. James stared at Freddie for a minute. Then he reached in his bottom drawer and pulled out a folder. You know what, Freddie? I'll tell you what you've done. Nearly 12 years ago, you unalived your father. You were then sent to a mental institution for 6 years. Then for some reason, they decided that you were cured. I don't know who the imbecile was who made that decision. Then you went on to high school, where you graduated with all D's. You were fired, or maybe you just left 16 jobs before you started working for your uncle. Henry, is it? So that's what you have done. Now, let me tell you what you haven't done. You have not gotten an education or worked a job that required intelligence past the 8th grade level. You haven't even secured a home for you and your family. You haven't done anything to separate yourself from any other thug walking the streets or standing on the corner. You have not done anything to separate yourself from the type of who puts a stain on the black community and the black race. You're not even worthy enough to stand in the same neighborhood as my daughter. let alone impregnate her body with a baby and her mind with false promises of the future? And you have the nerve to come down here to tell me what you've done and what you think you're going to do when I know that you are incapable of accomplishing any of it. Dr. James took off his glasses and told Freddie to get up out of his sight before he do something to him that he may regret. But Freddie didn't move. He just stared at the man because Freddie took that as a threat. And all Freddie could see was him grabbing that brick paperweight off that desk and going in on his face. Are you going to get up? Or were you not capable of comprehending what I just asked you to do? Freddie slowly got out of the chair and started walking to the door. He looked back at Dr. James and told him that he came there as a man, trying to earn his respect. But if he didn't want to give it to him, that was fine because Kia gave him everything he needed. But Freddie let him know that family reunions were going to be a little crazy because he had plans on asking Kia to marry him one day. And something told him that she was going to say yes. Then he walked out, leaving Dr. James looking shocked, terrified, and angry. So it's the next morning and Monica got up. She got ready for work. She walked into the kitchen. Louis and Layla were sitting down having breakfast. Layla said, "Good morning, Monica." Louis, he didn't speak. Monica could tell that he was in another one of his moods, and she figured that out last night when she kept calling him over and over per Layla's request, but he didn't answer. And then a couple of hours later, he called back and said that he'd be in later. So to see that he wasn't saying much this morning really did surprise Monica. She asked him if they could talk. He said he had a lot to do today, but maybe they could talk later. Monica said sure. She grabbed her keys and headed to her car. When she got outside, she noticed an aging pale green Ford sitting across the street with an older lady sitting inside. And that was about the third or fourth time she had noticed the woman. But she just brushed it off as an old woman who probably just likes to sit in front of strangers' home. You know, maybe it's a dream to try to manifest things. So on her way to work, Monica decided to stop by the park where her and Nate had met, the other night. She stepped out of the car and started to take a stroll. And then Nate came to mind as she sat down and looked into the distance. She wondered if she had been too hard on him the other night. She was thinking about calling him and apologizing. Then she got up to walk through the play area. And as she was walking, she noticed a tall, brown-skinned man who resembled Nate. And then she realized that it was Nate. She wondered, what is he doing here? But then she thought about it that maybe he's probably, still hoping and praying that one day he'll have a kid of his own. That thought made Monica feel like a failure, but she forced that thought away and walked up to Nate. "Nate, what are you doing here?" Nate was shocked to see her. He seemed very nervous. Just, enjoying the morning. I still come here from time to time. I can understand that. It's funny that I ran into you because I was thinking about calling you to apologize about how I treated you last night. Don't worry about it, Monica. I understand. It's fine. Okay? Okay. Well, I'll see you around, Nate. Okay. See you around as well, Monica. Monica turned to leave, but she felt like something was kind of off with him, so she decided to go back to make sure he was really fine. When she turned around, she saw Nate lifting a little boy over the short rail and cleaning his hands with a wet wipe. Nate didn't see her approach, and he kind of jumped when she asked, "So who is this?" Nate didn't say anything, but the little boy said, "Mommy?" And Monica was shocked, and he said it again, "Mommy." "Nathaniel? It's him, isn't it?" Nate picked Nathaniel up and told Monica that he was sorry that he didn't tell her. He said that he was going to tell her the other night, but he wasn't expecting her +1. And he really didn't want Louis around his son. "Your son?" Nathaniel grabbed 2 of Monica's fingers and told her that she was his mommy. Monica looked at Nate and asked him why was he saying that. And Nate told her because it was always what he told him. But why? Because when I came to you with this idea when our marriage was failing, you dismissed it. You didn't care anything about it. Yeah, and I was wrong. And after you left, I realized how wrong I was. So I adopted him. And this is one of the best decisions I've made in my life. When I said that I was a different man, Nathaniel is the reason why. Monica just stared at Nate and Nathaniel. She felt tricked by Nate again. She felt left out because she was supposed to be a part of this happy family. Nate, what am I supposed to say? Should this mean something to me? Monica wiped a tear from her face and told Nate that nothing had changed and seeing them meant nothing to her. But she did tell Nate that she was happy for him though. She said her goodbyes and she walked away. But as she was walking away, she could hear Nathaniel ask, "Why is mommy leaving?" So Monica went on to work, but on her lunch break, she went to Tabitha's house because Tabitha had the day off. So Monica told Tabitha that she ran into Nate at the park. She told her about his son and that he just seemed so settled and content. He seemed more fulfilled, the way I knew he would have been if I could have given him a child. I mean, he was a good man before that. Things just changed after I couldn't give him a baby. Tabitha, look, I know. I told you not to talk about my situation with Lewis anymore, but I really need to know the truth. How am I perceived by our friends and our business associates? Why would you want to hear any of that, Monica? You've gone on and on about me leaving it alone. And now that you've seen Nate and his son, now you want to know what people think about you and Lewis? I mean, it really doesn't matter because you're going to be with him anyway. I think what's going on is that you're scared about being alone. If you were honest, you'll be able to admit that you two have nothing in common. But we do. We like the same foods, the same TV shows, and we have a good time together every now and then. Monica, you can have that with anybody. Y'all are just two different people. You have a master's. He has a diploma. You own businesses. He has a part-time job. You like conversations about business and politics. He likes to talk about sports and rap. But that doesn't mean I can't love him. No, it doesn't. But being with someone you have similar interests with can be difficult at times. So why make it harder for yourself with Lewis? And since you want to know what people are saying, they feel like you're slumming and that you've kind of taken on a charity case. They notice that he doesn't say much when he accompanies you to different events. He has no clue what they're talking about. That's why he says no most of the time when you ask him to go. He is uncomfortable around people on that level, executives and corporate folks. And if you marry him, all he's going to do is keep you from going as far as you can go. You may want to get your PhD or expand your businesses. And he may not want that because he may feel like you're outgrowing him even more. Monica dropped her face in her hands and said, "Oh, that's similar to what Nate said. He asked me how far did I think I could grow with Lewis." Monica, I think you still love Nate. And I think he still loves you. And I know you probably don't want to hear it. And that could be because, like I said, you still have feelings for him. You know he's a better man than Lewis, even with the plan that he set up. That's not true. Lewis was there for me when Nate didn't want anything else to do with me. Lewis gave me Layla when he knew I couldn't have kids. I can't just abandon him just because he doesn't have degrees or he doesn't watch CNN. He was there for me during a time when I didn't have anyone else. Well, I hate to say it, but maybe that time with Lewis has run its course. Okay, so over there with Lewis and Freddie, they were at work and Lewis noticed that Freddie was pretty quiet. Freddie was thinking about all of the things that Dr. James said to him and about him. The way he looked at him and spoke down to him made Freddie really want to put his hands around his neck and make him take back every negative word that came out of his mouth. But he knew that violent thoughts only triggered more violent thoughts. But funny enough, Freddie was thankful and resentful to the man because the negative words will only make Freddie want to work harder to prove him wrong. Lewis asked Freddie why was he so quiet. At first, Freddie said he just didn't have anything to say. And Lewis was like, nah, that's not like you. What's up? And Freddie told him that he should really rethink his plans about putting hands on Nate. And Lewis felt like Freddie was flaking on him. But Freddie just didn't understand why Lewis felt like Nate needed a beat down just for calling Monica. Lewis felt like he did, and it would be payback for what Nate and his goons did to him. But what if it gets out of hand and somebody gets hurt? What if you black out and end up unaliving a man? Well, that's why you'll be there to stop me, Freddie. Deep down, Freddie really didn't want no parts of that situation. He was trying to change his life and get his family out of the hood, not jump somebody for making a phone call. So Lewis told Freddie that after work, he was going to hide in Nate's bushes and jump him, just like they did him. And it was going to happen whether Freddie was there or not. Freddie was trying to talk Lewis out of it and let him know that he could be starting something that he can't stop, because Nate doesn't seem like the kind of man who would just let Lewis whoop his tail and then just go away. But Lewis didn't want to hear any of it. Are you with me or not, Freddie? Yeah, I'm with you. Later on that day, Nate made it home. He pulled into his driveway thinking about the interaction between Nathaniel and Monica. He could tell that a wall had come down somewhere inside of her, even with her saying that seeing Nate and Nathaniel didn't make a difference to her. Nate could tell that Monica liked Nathaniel. The only problem was that Nathaniel instantly took a liking to Monica. The boy couldn't stop talking about her. And Nate worried that if Nathaniel got too attached, that he would be truly hurt if Nate followed through with his intentions. He looked in his rearview mirror at Nathaniel, and the little boy said, I like Mommy. Do you like Mommy? Let's talk about that a little later, because right now we need to get inside. Nate got out, walked to the passenger side door, but then he heard shoes racing towards him, and when he turned around, a fist caught him in the jaw. It was so quick and so powerful that he was seeing stars. He fell to his knee, but he tried to recover and stand up, but then he was kicked in the stomach. He thought he was going to throw up, and he was fighting not to lose consciousness. All he felt was someone on top of him, pounding down on him. All types of thoughts ran through his head. He didn't know if it was someone trying to take his son for ransom or what. He heard the man say, hey, you ain't going to get none of this. Nate was trying to crawl to the back door, but when he looked up, he saw another man wearing a ski mask just standing there like he was frozen. Nate reached out his hand towards the man, hoping he would have sympathy on him and help. But the first guy stomped his hand so hard that Nate thought he felt a bone snap. Nate screamed in agony. Next, everything went silent because the man gave him an overwhelming blow to his head with his boot, causing Nate to fall on his back. He could see the man approaching as he tried to force his eyes to open. The man bent down and said, I told you not to F with her no more, but you won't listen. You didn't listen. Things are not the same. The man peeled back his mask and Nate saw that it was Lewis. Then he said, don't make me come back over here. And he spat in Nate's face. Nate watched the man walk away, and the other guy was still standing there just looking until he heard his name called. Then he shook his head and just walked away. Then Nate heard his son crying. He tried to reach the handle to the back door, but the beating was just too much. He felt his senses starting to leave. His body went limp, and all he could do was pray that his son was okay. Thankfully, Mrs. Weatherly was going out to check the mailbox and found Nate and Nathaniel. Nate was rushed to the hospital, and they ran a battery of tests. He was told that his ribs were bruised, he had a concussion, and one of his eyes received more damage than the other. He had to get several stitches in his lip, and his face was covered in blue and black bruising. Tim came to the hospital to find out what happened and who did it. Nate told him that it was Lewis. Are you sure? I'm positive. This man ran up on me in broad daylight at my home. Dog walked me and just left me there. Nate dropped his head in disbelief. Tim told him that everything would be fine. No, not for him. He gonna pay for this. I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna make sure Monica leaves him. Then I'm gonna take everything that he has and make him wish this was his last day on earth. So over there with Monica made it in from work around 9. And Lewis was in the living room with his feet kicked up on the coffee table, burning some grass, if you know what I mean, and watching BET videos. Monica did not like that he was smoking in the house. Didn't I tell you not to do that in the house? You weren't saying that when we did it together. That was one time. Don't do it in the house. So then Monica changed the channel to MSNBC, and Lewis said, I was watching videos. I don't want to hear about no presidential election that has nothing to do with me. Well, it would if you voted. Monica turned the TV off and asked Lewis what was wrong with him. He didn't say anything at breakfast, and he has an attitude right now. Nothing. I was cool. Whatever, Lewis. I'm going to get me some water. Do you want anything? No, I'm good. So Monica goes to get her water. She came back, sat down, and then she asked Lewis, how was his classes going? Do you have to ask me that? Like, do we have to talk about this? There are like 1,000 different things that we could talk about. Okay, suggest something. Well, I don't know what to talk about. What you want me to say? Maybe what are you going to do when you finish school? Have you thought about, what your plans are? Well, Freddie and I are thinking about starting a real estate company, or I might open a new barbershop. I don't know. I haven't thought much about it. You might want to start. What the hell is this, Monica? Are you my counselor or something? Do you think this is career day? No, I was just thinking, since we are getting married, thinking about the future is important. Well, let me worry about my own future. Okay, Lewis. You won't have to worry about me asking you this again at all. Okay? So over at Freddie's, he done made it home, ate, washed dishes. Now he's sitting at the table looking at the envelope that he had gotten out of the mailbox. And it was from the real estate licensing board. That letter would determine whether or not he had passed, whether or not he will be one step closer to fulfilling his dream, or if he will continue to be that no, do nothing, ninkin that Kia's father called him. And that's how he felt when he was watching Lewis pound down on Mr. Kenny. Lewis was trying to urge Freddie to jump in, but he refused. Plus, he was scared. He thought if he did it, it would start bad. He felt like he would just snap out and the man would be gone. He didn't need that in his life. He was trying to focus on his future. Freddie was so nervous about opening that letter. At first, he didn't want to do it because he thought he failed. But then he thought about all the work he put in. He went to class, studied hard, and finished in the top 5 of his class. And that pumped him up. So he was ready to open the letter. He scanned through the letter until he reached the score and saw that he received an 83% and you only needed 75% to pass. Freddie ran downstairs and jumped into bed with Kia. What are you so excited about? What has you running around here like a 5-year-old? I told you that I was going to make something of myself, and now I have some proof. For the past few months, I've been taking real estate classes, but I didn't want to tell anybody until I was sure I passed. He passed the letter to Kia. He saw the smile forming across her face, and she said, wait, so this means you passed? It sure does, baby. Oh, shuck it, duck it now, Freddie. Oh my gosh, you passed? Bring it in, bring it in. Yes, baby, you did that. You went out there, started taking real estate classes. You didn't tell me about it, but we'll talk about that later. You went out there, took real estate classes. You were focused. You passed your exam with an 83%. Oh my gosh. Oh, I am so happy for you. Like, I got chills right now. I am so proud of you. That's right, baby. Prove my daddy wrong. Show him that you are not who he said you were. And most importantly, Fred, I need you to get this, okay? prove it to yourself. Always prove it to yourself first, okay? Do that for me forever. Well, wait, baby. You really proud of me? Like, Kia, you really proud of me? Yes! What are you asking me? Yes, I am really proud of you. I'm prouder than you will ever know. I am so proud. I love you so much, Freddie. I am so proud of you. And that was it, y'all. That's it. That is it for that part. For part 5, that's it. I need y'all to let me know. Do you think Lewis has wrote a check that he know he ain't gonna be able to cash because Nate ain't finna let this go? Do you think Nate is gonna come after Lewis and Freddie? Do you think Monica was gonna find out? And if she does, what do you think she gonna say? How do you think she's gonna feel? Y'all let me know. Get down in the comments. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I thank y'all for even being here, giving this channel a chance. I hope you continue to push us up the algorithm. We be having a good time over here, baby, with these reviews and recaps. We're a 5 book club. You know what I'm talking about? So thank y'all very much. Get down in the comments. Let's talk about it. And I'll talk to y'all later.